This is the Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
Happy Friday.
And can I just say, if you're not working tomorrow, congratulations, everybody. You got there, and we did it.
Together, holding hands.
Sean's swimming to Rottnest tomorrow.
No, I got a whole adventure, whole day.
What?
So what time will you have to get
Mental
up tomorrow
challenge.
morning?
4.
So same.
Yeah, on the money. I'll be stretching, trying to ram some toast
This
down,
sounds awful.
and then really stressing balls massively.
How much toast are you going to ram
Nah,
down?
just
How
two
much do you
pieces, but I'm not going to eat the crust.
Why?
Are you carb loading today?
Oh, because your hair's curling enough.
I don't want to get to the end.
I
Nathan,
was-
20Ks and get out my hair's
Why
curly.
Yeah, no,
our
you can't
parents
have that.
told us that growing up, and I don't know why every child was so fearful of curly hair.
Yeah, and crust.
And
I'm
I-
going to cut the crust
If
off.
you eat the crust, your hair will go curly. Everyone would not go near the crust, near it.
Well, I did eat the crust and my hair is curly. So
It's unbelievable.
science.
Amy, you just walked in. Did you ever eat the crust and your hair went curly?
Did you get that warning when you were growing up?
Probably not.
You had that warning though, didn't
totally.
you? Yeah. Who started that? It's so strange, and we all believed it,
I know.
and we're frightened of it.
Frightened. That's a great
I
sell.
hope that parents these days are making their children frightened about crust. No, I don't.
But why? I don't
think it really
understand
builds
why
us
you
as
don't-
a society.
Why don't you want your kids to eat the crust? That makes no sense.
I don't
Of course,
know,
because
but
it's
you know what it is?
Because having curly hair is dangerous.
It's
as we know.
dangerous. Girls get the girls.
get the girls.
So that's dangerous.
That's
So
dangerous.
you don't
I
want
know.
it or
I
you
just,
do.
I just think that kids these days, parents protect them from too much. So just having a little thing like eating the crust on your bread makes your hair go colour. That little fear is healthy.
Yeah, I agree. There's only one thing that I go hard on the fear, and that's when kids go from primary school to high school.
Oh,
and
the
every single
flushing.
one, whether they're down the street, the kids or my kids, I always talking about the raw flush.
flush,
How
yeah.
the older kid's going to get them flush their head down the dummy.
Anybody ever met anybody that's ever happened to, or seen
No.
it, or witnessed it, or heard
No,
of it
and
actually happening?
And we have not seen anyone that had straight hair ate some crust and then suddenly they were Shirley Temple. We haven't seen that either.
It's all lies.
But you know what
Parenting,
it is?
it's all lies.
Yeah, it's just the threat.
Keep him
Yes,
on. Keep
that
him
is.
on edge.
It's a healthy threat.
This is a podcast of Nathan, Nat and Sean.
As you've been following here at Nova, we've been undergoing construction. We're doing a bit of a renovation here. Well, not even a bit. Like the whole of the other end of the building, up in sales and all that sort of stuff, completely getting re-gutted.
It's been gutted. They're moving the kitchen,
Everything.
which is big stuff. That's big stuff.
Yeah, up this end of the building, we're just getting the studio done.
Yeah.
Every time we get a guest in, we've got to apologise for the way.
Well, because
They're
this
walking
is
in the hallways.
because they've shut off the entire other part of Nova, so literally just this
Yes.
production area is the only place that anyone can access. So this, of course, has become the storage area for many new chairs and
Yes,
stuff as
everything.
well. So, yeah, it does
We're
look
all
like a
squeezed.
warehouse.
We're all squeezed
Yeah, it does.
into one
Yeah.
small area.
But the real great thing about this is the tradies that have been around. They're just such good guys, apart from the fact that they are destroying the male toilets.
Oh my god! Yeah,
Like, literally, it has never seen so much poo.
it's unbelievable.
Anyway, so that's that. But that in itself
That
has
aside,
become really
yes.
funny. Anyway, so we just have a chat to some of the tradies here and there. And the other week we were doing our show, right? And in here, we've got a bit of glass that looks into each studio. So we're in Ross's studio right now, and we can see each other. And they've put a curtain thing up there, which was
Yes.
sort of loose and was sort of gaping a little bit, but we couldn't see in. And that's, I
Be
think,
careful with that word, mate. It's very strong.
Sorry, I apologise to anyone that triggered. But I thought it was for us not to look in there to be
so
distracted.
that we'd be surprised when we see
Yeah,
it, like,
yeah,
so,
yeah, of
like
course.
on the makeover show.
Yes, yeah, and they drop it. Move that bus.
Yeah, exactly.
We all start crying.
But no, it turns out it's not for that.
So anyway, I was having a chat with him, and so the other week, I saw someone pull the curtain back and have a look, and I turned around. And it was just
tiny peek, wasn't it?
And just before it went back, I missed them, and I was like, "Oh, damn!" Because that would have been so exciting for us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we don't see anything.
And
Yeah.
Hello. Anyway, I met the tradie that did it. He's a funny little bugger, and he come up and he goes, "Oh, Nathan," he goes, I had a peek in your studio the other day," and I went, "Oh my god,
That was you.
We saw the back end of that.
Yeah.
You should have opened up properly and waved." And he said, "Oh no." He goes, we were specifically told not to look in there while you're doing your show. And he goes, that was one of the rules. And I went,
Yes.
oh, come on. And he goes, anyway, long story short, I'm not allowed in that studio anymore.
Sorry, he lost his privileges.
Because he had a sneak peek.
Because he had a sneak peek. But you know what? This is the thing about tradies,
Yes.
especially. You get to work on some amazing projects and you
Yeah.
get to work in some really different areas. And I'm sure that everyone would have been given the mandate of don't go in there, don't go
go
up
in there.
there,
Yes.
don't look at that,
Don't use
touch
that
this.
toilet.
Yeah, you know, but like, I mean, if the opportunity's there and no one's around, why wouldn't you?
You got to have a
Yeah, and
sneaky
if-
one for
well,
sure.
if somebody tells you not to, that
Then you
just
want to.
absolutely makes you want to do it. For the record, for that tradie and the other tradies who've been working there, that wasn't our request.
No.
We didn't say we don't want them looking at you. We would have loved that.
We would love that down, and we would just sit here and watch you. You'd be
Like you're at the
It'd be
zoo.
like the block. We would just be watching you do that, and it'd be so exciting. But that's not up to
Anywho,
us.
They wouldn't let us.
We want to talk to tradies, right? And we want to know if you were specifically told not to do something while
Yes.
on the job, and you know what, you did it because. I mean, the opportunity was there and, like, no one saw. I want to know if you got in trouble or not, or
Yes.
if they never found out.
Clayton's in Hilton. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Clayton.
Okay, Clayton. What sort of job were you on and what were you told you couldn't do?
Okay, like years ago I was living in London and I'm a carpenter by trade. I was living in London and the Tutankhamun exhibit was in town.
Yes.
I was at the O2 Arena and it's all very official. So you do your work and then an artefact comes in the room and they're like, all right, everyone, you got to leave the room while the specialists come in and put the artefacts in. And anyway, Sharon Osbourne was visiting one day and we were all
Yeah.
told, oh, you can't say hello to Sharon Osbourne, you know. But you can't, when you virtually bump into Sharon, you can't really not say, oh,
Yeah.
God, Sharon, like, you know, and she was the loveliest lady.
So you literally ran into her, stopped
Yeah.
through. You thought, oh, I've got to have a chat now.
Well, it'd be rude not to, Sean. He's bumped into her.
Exactly.
What did you get out of it, Clayton? Information-wise?
Not a lot, but she's just like, oh, how are you? This is a great job for you to work on, and you know, you're Australian and all this, and just all the little chit chat.
Yeah.
Wasn't going too deep.
But she was lovely.
Yep. And then he slept with her.
Oh,
So,
Clayton, you did? Can you confirm that?
Did you get in trouble, Clayton?
You know, it wasn't like lose your job, but they shunned me a bit. But they're all Americans that were doing the show. They travel around the world setting up the projects wherever they go. So.
Yeah.
I heard it's a general rule for tradies, and they've been told not to speak to Sharon Osbourne.
yeah.
Wherever she may
because I've
be.
heard that many times from my tradie mates.
I
That's
never
what Aussie
realised that
reckons.
Sharon Osbourne was an Egyptian artefact. That's just amazing. Thanks, Clayton. Gary's in Alkimos. Hello.
Morning, guys.
Hey, Gary.
Okay. What job were you on and what were you told you couldn't do?
This is many years ago. We were working at Her Majesty's Theatre doing the carpet in the main theatre.
Yes.
And it was in January, and the project was running a little bit behind. So we said, yeah, we'll work Australia Day. And so we were told, obviously, you got the keys to get in, etc., and all that. Just stick to what you got to do. Don't be wandering about, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So what we did was we got the wives and the kids to come in on the train, bring a picnic, and then got there later in the day. Went up through the attic, up onto the top of the roof, and watched the fireworks.
Oh, Gary.
That's thinking.
Was
Well
Sharon
done.
Osbourne there?
Yeah,
She
slept
was
with her.
actually, but we couldn't talk to her.
Yeah, because rules are rules, aren't they, Gary? That's so
Best
clever.
view in the house.
Yeah, it
That's
would have been
clever.
amazing.
I like that.
There's something really primal about wanting to get on the roof of something,
Yes.
isn't there? Like,
And also, I mean,
what a great
fireworks.
opportunity.
If there's fireworks, you've got to look at them.
Okay, that is so good.
They're also working a public holiday. You've got to have a bit of reward at the end of that.
And also, who else can say that they have done that? Had a picnic
know.
while watching the fireworks on top of His Majesty's.
It's amazing.
Come on.
Nathan, Nat, and Sean podcast.
On Monday, new time for Tipping
know.
Point Australia, everybody. It's going a little later. It's going to 5 o'clock. That's a sexy time slot. The host, Tom Woodbridge, joins us right now. Todd, welcome.
Good morning,
G'day, Todd.
Good morning, everybody. Great to be on. You guys are the early risers, and
Yeah.
we fill in the
Yeah,
afternoon.
but you're the living legend. So
that
you
must
know.
very kind, but no.
We're just personalities. You
Yeah.
know what a personality
Oh, well, I
is,
do
don't
now.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah, personality, famous, ...
in Perth.
Give an order of Australia. Yeah,
Yeah.
none of us do, yeah.
Yeah.
We can't get an order of this suburb.
No.
That's not what I hear. That's not what I hear.
Now, Todd, you started off with our tipping point. You're just telling us off air how intense it is when you get in there because you've got a live studio audience. You've got to be up and about for the quiz show.
Well, look, we've filmed our first series now,
Yeah.
so that's 160 shows.
Oh.
So that's a year. You do a year's worth in 3 months, and
How many
plus,
a day?
We shoot 3 to 4 days a week, and we do 4 shows a day.
And do you have to get change your outfit for each show?
I do a couple, like the morning in an outfit and the afternoon in the. It gets mixed around.
Even if I was told to, when we do photo shoots, right, for the year, and
Yeah.
we have to like get changed
you have
like
to get out of
3
your t-shirt.
times.
Yeah.
You have to
Into
get
another
changed.
t-shirt.
You have to get changed 3 times. Every time I'm enraged getting changed, let alone having to do that.
No, it's been great fun though. But the intensity, like I haven't sat on my backside all my career.
Yeah.
And this was just getting in and learning and doing and wanting to make it work. That you can appreciate
of
that.
course.
You guys are number one, and I have been a number one in my other field, and I really want to make this show work. And it's working. That's the
so
great thing.
good.
So over on the East Coast, we're doing really, really well. And I'm in here because we're trying to win the West.
time.
If we
Yeah,
can.
exactly.
Well,
so
then watch it then.
being at 5 o'clock is going to be great. The studio audience is a difference to the English one. So the English one is very
it's staged.
sedate.
It's very English.
is.
They're quite
Yes.
happy for the show to finish
Yes.
boring, but we're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like they queue. We don't like queuing. And the show itself, though, it has a really good base of viewership, and that's why it's been able to work because of those COVID years.
But
Everybody sat at home and thought they'd take a break.
You've
and watch
given it some
Tipping Point.
tweaks though, because you do a bit of bargaining at the end.
Do a bit of bargaining.
Yeah.
So, you've got this, your different rounds. You've got you start off with your buzzer round, then you go into a quick fire, then you go head to head. That's quite good. It's a bit more like banter in radio.
Yeah.
I like that.
Then you go in the jackpot round. Now, if you don't get the jackpot counter over the tipping
for
point,
$20,000.
you've got all your money sitting in the bank that's yours to take home. And then it's where I've become a used car salesman saying, hey, that's a nice vehicle, but let me get you a bigger, brighter one.
Yes.
And I'll offer, depending on where that jackpot counter is, I've offered 40, 50,
and holidays to the Maldives.
100,000
You love a
been
holiday
offered.
to the Maldives.
Oh, yes. they just go, yes, I'll
that
go.
often tips
Even
them
if they
over,
got no
doesn't it?
chance.
So
And you
this
go,
is
what
for
are you
them to
doing?
take a bit of a punt on
Yes.
using 3 or 4 more counters to get the...
Exactly. And so
Have you ever gone rogue and offered something that the network is not willing to
The
give?
producer in my ear saying, halt.
Settle down.
We don't have the budget left.
You're getting 10 lions.
When I first saw Tipping Point, obviously with the general knowledge questions you started to play on, but the counter machine
Yes.
just takes you back to when you've been to 100 fairs along as you're a kid, when you put the 20 cents in
amazing.
So
and then you're just trying to bang
It's
the
a great
corner.
level, because you can be the smartest person in the room and the machine lets you
You've got to
down.
be the quiz master, but the quiz master doesn't necessarily win.
Yeah, that's right.
It's somebody with that bit of pot luck. But you know what? That's why the show is actually being so successful as well. It's because kids are coming home from primary
there's
school.
link.
They're sitting down watching it. It's got that machine element that they love. Then their parents are watching it. Then the grandparents, if they've got them, they're watching it as well. So it's actually an afternoon show that's bringing a bit more of the family together because everybody's sitting down. So that's been a part of its success.
Nanas would love it. In the Kalgoorlie Fair, you would everyone would take, go along and they'd take their nana and they'd take their nana to that machine, and then you'd drop her off
and
there
you'd
and
leave
you'd
her
come
there.
back there at the end of the day.
It's a bit like my mum with the pokies.
And you didn't even have to answer any questions. It's amazing.
And it was just like under that mark, it was just a sea of nanas.
But how many times did you go to those machines and just
bump
sit there
it?
and bump them and just try to get as much money out as you can?
It's kind of what I like when we were talking about jackpot temptation at the end. I actually feel like I'm on the side of my contestant.
Yes.
And that
You want them to win. Yeah, that's right.
Come on. And then I can't control anything in
And
the
it's
machine.
all or nothing. So if they get they either get all of that or they go home
and tell you what,
empty-handed.
there's a lot of gamblers out there.
Yeah,
They
there
want to
is.
take the punt, and I got to tell you, some walk away with it, and a lot don't.
Yeah.
I love you've got some little slang terms that you've come up with. So when Nathan, when the counter falls down and it lands on top of another one, that's
what do we call that?
Winona.
Oh, a Winona rider. I think that might have been.
Why is that a
coined by
Winona
the-
rider? Because it's riding
It's
on
a
the back of
rider.
another
It's
a
one?
rider.
Or it
You can
shoplifts?
tell I'm in form. No, it doesn't shoplift. No. We've got our edge surfers and our ghost
drops.
hugging hugging ghost drops that sit in the machine and sort of.
Did you come up with this stuff?
It was some of them, the hugging ghost drop, because it gets a bit of static occasionally, and it sits and hugs in. It's not magnets behind, because there's all these theories out there, but they're actually not.
Oh, you've got tipping point conspiracy theories.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Another setup.
Yeah. Oh no, you can see the magnet dragging it into position.
Todd's really a lizard.
They're not metal. They're plastic.
Yeah. Too good.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And look, one of the key things is actually the contestants. So anybody listening, get ready for Series 2, get online.
There's a lot more banter with the Australian one than there is with the English one.
Yeah, and that's actually been one of the things that I really wanted to bring in. I wanted to be a bit more like these conversations, to get people's personalities to come out, because that shows in the show, and that becomes another element. It's not just a quiz show. It's actually, we get to know something about each person.
That's the best, because for our show personally, the best stuff we get is from our callers.
Yes.
They are so funny.
Well, we've got Monday, when we hit the 5 o'clock slot, we have an 18-year-old named Travis is in that first episode that you're going to get here on Monday, and he is unreal. And that's the thing I've loved. We've got 18-year-olds to an 85-year-old coming.
Amazing.
And she was really good.
Did you have the medical?
She blew a hip.
Did you have the ambulance on the standby there?
She was you got to watch that one, because she was very dry with her humour.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I love at
That's what I
that
love,
age? You don't care what anyone thinks.
Exactly.
No.
And you know what? And you shouldn't, because it's your right to say whatever you want. You've earned it. You're 85. You're tired.
Yeah, no, she was not tired, let me tell you.
Really?
No.
Hey, Todd, when you were playing tennis and on centre court at Wimbledon and winning amazing titles all over the world, did you ever envisage that maybe one day you'd be a game show host?
Absolutely not.
It's a random
May
kind
of last year, I
progression.
didn't envision that this was going to be. But it's been that accumulation of what I've done in my career, from being the sportsman, the athlete, being interviewed. I mean, I was first interviewed on a television show at 12 years of age. So it's been in and around. Obviously, I finished playing and I go into broadcast commentary. I went from sort of expert commentary into hosting, leading, I remember if I...
doing
a
other
lot
sports.
of controversy. I hosted an Ashes series for Channel 9.
I
remember. We have a little show called Postcards in Victoria. That's the regional stuff. You go around to towns and promote. It's just bringing all of that together.
And look, and when's
I
it gonna
don't mind
end
a
up?
chat.
I hear there's rumours going around that he's going to be one of the new experts on maths.
Nathan was just asking him about when you were younger, and because you mentioned at the age of 12 you started travelling and you had to compete at a really high level then.
I left home at 14 to go to the Australian Institute of Sport in Canberra, and then started to travel. Did well. By 16, I was going to Europe for 10, 11 weeks to go through the clay court season onto Wimbledon and so forth.
It's so much easier these days, because anyone in that same thing, it's connected. Connectivity, you don't feel like you're away from your family as much. Tell them what you went through.
Well, I'm not sure it is easy. I think it actually stops kids from developing some resilience.
Oh, right.
I
got you, because they don't have the detachment.
So back in my day, it's so long ago, but I was allowed one phone call a week to my parents. And
who
you looked at me
that?
like, why couldn't you? Because it was a reverse charge call. It was
so
expensive.
your parents said you can only call once.
You couldn't afford it. You
so
weren't
make
able
it
to
good.
do it.
You get one.
Back then, it was like $20 for a phone call. This is 35, 40 years ago.
So Tom, for all the younger people listening right now, how did you correspond with your parents?
We wrote letters.
Will you explain what that is?
Aerograms.
Oh yes, the really lightweight ones. Yes,
and
postcards.
There's something I can never get past on postcards is, why would you write all your personal business so anyone can read it?
But listen,
it's so strange to me.
You'd say the weather's fantastic. I'm having dinner on the Champs-Elysees at Pizza Pino. I'm looking forward to getting to England to get some decent food.
Yeah. So there wasn't a lot of personal information divulged. No,
that was.
Yeah.
By the way, my BSB number is.
Please transfer me some
cash.
No, yes, that was traveller's checks.
Yeah.
Traveller's checks.
God.
Yeah, you got
They've got it easy today, haven't they?
Todd, did you have a house in Europe? Because there's a lot of the seasons played there.
You lived in America.
I know you're in America, but
no. So we were based out of Orlando in Florida. I lived there for 11 years, and that was great. And then when we had our kids, it was time to come home.
Did you lived on an estate with golfers and other elite athletes, didn't you?
Done your homework?
Yeah.
Yes. one very famous one called Tiger Woods.
Oh, really?
What did he? So he was a tennis player. No.
Yes, no,
Did he
Tiger
ever crash
loved
his
his
golf
tennis.
cart
I-
into a tree?
I used to play golf with him often. And I used to play a lot of tennis with him. He loved tennis, and so he wanted to have a slice backhand.
Yes.
He thought that was the coolest shot, a la Federer, if you like.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
And I tried to explain to him that actually that's not the one you want. You want a two-hander, but he saw that as the shot to have.
Yeah.
So I used to try and teach him a slice backhand.
When you were
Hilarious.
playing with Tiger Woods, was that around the time that he was playing with other ladies?
No.
So it wasn't during that
Before
scandal
or after?
period?
It was. I had moved back to Australia, and then he lost focus.
Well, that's what happens. Well, no one was playing tennis.
He
had
had
the
no
time to fill.
supervision. You were
Yeah.
his supervisor. Is that what you're
That's
saying?
right.
So he's going for the
That's
green.
what happens when you have a Todd-shaped hole in your life.
Yes, that's right. You need to
You
fill
just
it.
you
lots
turn
of
to
other-
endless women.
With cocktail waitresses.
Now, Todd, obviously we know you as one of the greatest ever doubles player that's ever played, a Hall of Fame, and everywhere you look. But you were great in singles too, right? So you got to
Thanks for raising that.
19. Was it 19 in the world?
19 in the world. Made semis in Wimbledon back in '97.
Yeah. So in that run, you beat everyone. So Australia's love affair with Pat Rafter took him down. Playing Pete Sampras and beating him. What was that, like?
That's a
Because
big
Pete
deal at the
Sampras was a
time.
big deal.
I didn't beat him in that one. I lost to him in the semi-finals of Wimbledon that year.
hey.
But I did beat him at Wimbledon, and of course he won it 7 times or whatever he did. But I got him before he'd won it.
Nice. So you got him early.
So I got him early,
Yes.
and then I actually
Doesn't
played
matter.
him. I
No one
played him
asks.
3 more times at Wimbledon after that. Won sets, but didn't beat him again. So I got the win.
Righto, what was his Achilles heel?
His Achilles heel. His Achilles heel was Pat Rafter.
He spoke to his parents twice a week.
Made him
Took his
stop.
focus.
Oh, yeah.
Very quick. Pat Rafter used to annoy him because Pat would go into the locker room. No, Pete. One day he'd know you, the next day he didn't, and he didn't like to talk a lot. So he'd be lying on the physio's table, and
Pat would just get in his
Pat
ear.
would just start yapping at him, talking to him, and he'd annoy the living daylights out of
really?
him.
That's
and that's
so
how
funny.
he got under his skin. And
There's so many people would love Pat Rafter to talk to them.
yes,
but,
not Pete Sampras.
Sampras.
No,
Who didn't you like on the tour?
who didn't I like?
There's always a few.
Well, Goran Ivanisevic used to annoy me.
Goran,
Oh, yeah, okay.
But it was because he had a good left-handed serve and I
Yeah.
couldn't beat him.
Yeah.
I actually became good mates with him. So it's really quite interesting how once you get past the winning and losing, you get to know somebody's personality. But it's a cutthroat sport, tennis. You don't want to give too much away.
Did you have someone's literally every time you played them, you knocked them over? Because everybody has a bunny.
Well, not many. I didn't have many bunnies, but I was Andre Agassi's bunny.
Oh, okay. So every time.
it's nice to be involved.
I was the bunny.
Yes, yeah.
At least we were there.
Yeah, exactly.
So bagels or what did you?
No, but I won a set once out of about
Yeah.
6 matches.
Yeah.
Not great.
Was that a good feeling of that set?
It was.
Great. You got a great
like the
what
Tides
you did.
journey.
It was in Munich.
Yes.
Yeah.
Munich first round, whatever year it was. I remember
Yeah.
it vividly. It's still sitting in there, it's burned into my brain.
Okay, what was the number of what was the score on that set that you
Which
won?
set
I
did
think
you
I won
win?
at 6-4.
6-4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which
I
set
think
was
I
it?
lost 6-4 in the third. I won the second set.
Yeah, nice.
And then after that, do you think, here we go.
I've got him.
Here we go, the careers.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is the careers.
Or-
It begins
or-
now.
I'm going to win the French Open.
Or Nathan, do you take that set and you go, I've actually done this, you go down,
And
hurt,
retire.
injured, and go, oh, we've got him.
Retire. Oh, God, you should have seen what I was planning to do.
It was in Munich, so it was sort of let's go and celebrate Oktoberfest.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, there's motivation to go out in the first
In
round,
May.
isn't there? Yeah.
In May.
What about the Olympics in '96?
Incredible to be able to walk away with a gold medal.
Gold medal.
You know, a lot of people say tennis shouldn't be in the Olympics, and I will tell you, it's one of the greatest things that myself and Mark Woodford did was to win an Olympic medal.
Yeah.
Because everything you do as an individual is great for you, your family, but when you get an Olympic moment, there is an enormous amount of pressure. When you hear Kathy Freeman talk about what she
Yes.
did and the pressure she was
Yeah.
under, you cannot ever imagine that, and that's how we sort of felt about that, because we were gold medal favourites there, and it's like the Olympic Association had already tagged it on the board,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you've got to try to put that out of your mind, and
Yeah.
that was brilliant. And then we retired as a partnership at Sydney in 2002, so that was great, but we lost the final.
Maybe let's say that tennis shouldn't be at the Olympics. Why are they okay with badminton then?
Yeah,
Because that's
synchronised
the
swimming.
pinnacle of badminton
Well, we have 4
competition.
majors a year, so
Yeah.
they say, well, we have
You've
our
already
moment,
got-
Yes.
our moment in time.
Yeah,
but,
Wimbledon, you would say, would be
this-
the preeminent competition.
But don't most sports
only-
have their moment in time? BMX have got their world championship.
Yeah, they do
You've
all
got-
have world
you know,
championships.
surfing
but
world
Olympic is
championship.
definitely
Golf.
higher than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only great tennis champion of the era since the tennis has been back in, which is in the mid-'80s, to not have a medal is Pete Sampras.
Because
And
you
that's
say
why.
He's come back again.
Because you know what? That set you took.
He didn't decide to play for the US.
No, never played. But everybody else has won it, from
Oh, wow.
Boris Becker to you know who.
Yeah,
They've
right.
all got it.
Can I ask you about being around the Olympic Village? I know we're running out of time in a second, but because Nathan brought this up before, how the Aussies, or is it just the Aussies that are
Yes.
told
In Paris,
to
yeah.
leave Paris and stuff?
Yeah.
But isn't that part of the whole thing?
Yeah,
You want to be a part of
It
it?
should be part of the gift of being
Yeah.
an Olympian
Yeah.
is to be able to be there.
I absolutely think that it is unfair to the athlete to put so much into
Horrible.
their career and then expect them to walk up and focus like they will and they want to, and then not be able to enjoy that moment and said, thanks very much,
Yes.
off you go.
Yeah.
That needs to be relooked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You heard it
Agreed.
here
especially,
first.
especially after they had such a weird experience in Tokyo because of
they-
COVID.
it's actually the whole thing to go
Yeah.
into the dining room and you see
Yeah.
all the American basketballers
Yeah.
and then there's the gymnasts that are tiny. The difference in body shapes is incredible,
Yeah.
but there's amazing athletes and you can talk to people, you pick their brain.
We need them
you
to meet and fall in
It's-
love and
I
breed
know.
super athletes.
Grabbing all the free condoms and exploring those
Exactly.
different body shapes.
I thought about that, but
But
you
didn't
said
say
it.
it. All right, everybody, check out Todd's fine work on Tipping Point Australia, which moves to the 5 o'clock time slot on Channel 9 from Monday.
It's the Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
Hello.
Hey,
there
guys,
he is.
Sebastian.
Oh, look
How
at
are
it.
you, buddy?
you, mate.
Nathan, Nat and Sean.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mate, you know what? You're just
Do I have
getting
all
better
three
and
of
better.
you?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I know. It was a package deal. We have to be here. The contract says so.
How are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Good, mate.
Yeah, how are you? You know what? You're just never going to be out of the zeitgeist, are you, Guy Sebastian? You just keep producing quality
the
and
guy
getting to
into
be
zeitgeist.
getting to be a better and better bloke. It's disgusting.
I just refuse to go away.
No one wants
But
to
people-
go away.
yeah,
though.
that's right. People aren't sick of you. That's
Yeah.
and that's not always the case, Guy. You know what
So
I mean?
many people, so many times we get people, so and so. There's an
Yeah.
interview opportunity with them. We go, nah. With you, if we spoke to you yesterday or 2 days before, and we'd say yes every time. So
I
there
love
you
a
go.
chat.
Yeah,
I just
I
love
know.
it. The problem is if, like, when Jules is asked why we're still together, her answer's that as well. He just refuses to go away.
I mean, it's half the battle.
That's right.
Just actually being there.
Oh, that's great.
Persistence.
Yes.
Persistence.
Hey, Guy, we're going to be talking about Antidote, your new song out with Sam Fisher. But how much time have you been able to put aside to get stuck into writing new music and producing stuff?
Quite a lot. As in, look, I've been writing for like over 2 years for this album. My last album, Truth, came out a while ago, but it's funny, the writing process. Like, you start and you think you know the sort of sound that you want to make on the next record, but then it evolves, and songs that you love at the start that you're like, oh, that's a definite, you start a folder. And I put it in this faves folder, and then you end up just falling out of love with it, or it just feels like the album goes somewhere else. And so I've been writing for a while, but I reckon I'm done now. Like, I just did this trip for about 10 days, 11 days in LA. I wrote every day, but there's probably 3 or 4 that I really liked, maybe 3 that I'll end up cutting, which is a good strike rate. I think I did 6 sessions and ended up, I'll cut 3 of them, but that's all. I reckon that's all I need for the album. And so, look, I used to pump them out. Like, I used to try and I felt this pressure. Like, I was like, because fans would write to you. They're like, when's the new album coming out? And I'd always feel
I'm in your hedge waiting at the back of your house.
I want to hear something.
You were talking about old school way of doing things. I want to talk about the new school way of doing things. And we know Meghan Trainor, she's written a few songs with TikTok in mind because she knew that they would be able to blow up. Are you starting to think like that?
Not really. I don't know. Look, I'm trying not to be like, I don't want to be like super negative or anything. I feel like it's always changing. Like, it changes all the time, right? Like, I look at this song, for example, Antidote. Like, TikTok actually had a huge part to play, not even directly with this song and with someone like Sam Fisher. So when I wrote this song, it was actually it was my drummer's wedding. He said to his wife Jess in the wedding speech, he's like, "Oh, you're just," he's crying, and he's from Perth.
Yeah,
and
we're very emotional.
We are very emotional people.
Very in touch with your emotions.
We're
Perth, man.
lovely.
And he's like, Yeah. So he said, "You're the antidote to all my problems," and it was such a beautiful thing to say.
Does he get songwriting credits and some money then? You
better have given him a good gift.
Did. My guitar player definitely did, because we were standing next to each other. We were quite a few beers deep by that point, and he's like, "Man, that is so beautiful." You're the end. Like, that's such a good thing to say to someone. And we're like, I'll write a song tomorrow. So I ended up doing that. I came home and I sort of put down this little thing on my like voice notes, and then Sam came over the next day and I played it for him, and he was like, "Dude, this is sick. Like, let's do it. This is the one." But we started chatting about his song, This City. And This City, I added it like a year and a half before it blew up to my Spotify. And then I asked him, and he said, "Oh, dude, I was at rock bottom. I was broke. I was dumped by my label, dumped by my management." And then they were like, "Oh, yeah, you can have," he asked for the masters, and they were like, "Yeah, you can have your masters. Like, you can have your songs, whatever." And then he was about to give up because he just like sort of was broke, and this TikToker posted his song and it blew up and it went viral, and then suddenly he got signed to a global deal.
That's
He's
amazing.
doing like duets with Demi Lovato.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
something like TikTok just, it just boosted it. But I don't know, I feel like it's really tiring. And I know
we talk about that as being a thing.
Can I just say,
Can you be bothered?
We're pretty mumuch our careers are along the same timeline. We're all about 20 years in.
Yeah.
So we're all just really tired.
Well, I'm sick of trying to like. I just want to make art, and whatever happens with it happens. Like I think so often we try and put like these, like what do I determine the worth of things that I create? It's not like. It's not charts or airplay or all that sort of stuff. That's all amazing only because people get to hear it. So when you make art, you want people to hear it. Yeah. So even if you reach X amount of people that say, "Hey, this helped me through this," or "This did this for me," I feel like there's purpose in everything, but the vehicle changes all the time. And even in the last 3 years, like, so now they only pretty much sign people who are big on TikTok. So I'm not really talking about myself. I've been doing it for ages, but I look at my mates and peers and people in the music industry. They're like, "Well, I don't really know how to become viral, or I just know how to make music, and I've like put in my 10,000 hours." These guys are deep. There's someone in Perth that I discovered recently, and he is insane. Like, he's so unbelievably talented, and I'm going to start writing with him. He's only young. His name's Ethan French.
Yep.
And I don't know if he's listening, but he like
he'll be like losing his mind right now for years.
No, he's such a beast of a musician, and I don't know. I just get a bit skeptical of things and a bit cynical because I feel like there's these beast musicians out there that are just kind of struggling. And then, for example, I'm signed to Universal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they're in a bit of a thing with TikTok at the moment, and so I'm making music, but Universal, who I'm published to, like they're my like songwriting publishers. All my music's been taken off, so Antidote's taken off. So your label, everyone's saying, make sure you cover like TikTok and all that sort of stuff, and it feels like you just sort of get knocked around a bit, and you just want the music to rise. But what I tell people all the time is, I reckon maybe we've had this like overcorrection of like, it feels like anyone can make it, whatever that means. But like, feels like anyone can release music and anyone can do that. But historically, there's only a few people, right? Like, the cream rises to the top. And I feel like maybe it's correcting to a more real place where it's like everyone can do this for a living, but not everyone can do it for a living. But I'm so sorry. How do I ignore this? Send to voicemail. My best mate's calling. But I feel like maybe it's not all bad that it's hard for cream to rise to the top, because I think it's going to focus back on just the art and the classic timeless nature of good art, and that cream will rise to the top, but it's hard. I don't know. Yeah. I'm venting here. This is
Can I quickly say that you're venting, right, Sean? do you not feel like he's just reading a most beautifully written script, the way he just is talking?
You're very articulate.
When Sean speaks for that long, he gets lost about where he is.
I do.
And then you can see the panic on his face because he realises, wait there, I've forgotten even what I'm talking about. And then he just keeps using words to see if he can find his way back. And 2 weeks later, he realises that he didn't.
Well, I'm getting a masterclass on how to stay on track. That was really good,
Oh, no,
guy.
can I tell you, that is actually one of my favourite things ever, because you sort of realize that talking is an actual gift, and I actually realize that more now than ever by being on The Voice, because you have different coaches, and there's different coaches I've worked with, and one of my favorite things to do is when someone starts talking and I know there's no landing spot for it. I know.
It's thrilling.
No, guy.
I love watching how they try and get through it. It's so funny.
When Sean does it, we literally, Sean looks and we literally just lean back and just enjoy the ride, because I'm like, where's this going?
There's sometimes where there's a word that escapes me, and I know these two know the word, where they jump in and just I'm like, cheese, I don't know, the word, and they just move back from the microphone and I'm just drowning.
And radio, I don't care what anyone says, radio is one of the hardest possible things. It's so much pressure. Like, you can't edit yourself. You can't highlight yourself. It's just whatever comes out is out, and you try to articulate a thought. Like, you lose a word in that moment, and then it's not like a normal conversation. No. You're thinking, oh my God, everyone's listening. Find the word. Find the word. Find the word.
You get that distinct feeling of something like, when you realise you've gone through a red light. That's the feeling.
Did they get it? Oh,
my gosh, shit. Anyway, you've got 1,000 more interviews to do, so we better let you go.
We love your work, though. We'll talk to you anytime. And a shout out to
Sam's in town, so we should get a little chat with Sam. He's such a legend.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Far out. He's just when you listen to this song, just have a listen to his tone.
Okay.
Like you're looking at me in my studio where I recorded. I recorded the song just there on that piano, and then I had him just in that room recording his vocals. Far out. Like, have a listen to how chocolatey and rich his tone is. I never get tired of listening to him sing.
Nathan, Nat and Sean is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au. Nova.